Well, it was the Sunday after Georgia's win over Mississippi State that Paul Finebaum got a quick look back at Kirby Smart's at the transition from Mark Richt to Kirby Smart in 2015. I was there for all of that too. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second here. Paul had this to say. He said Mark Richt got fired because he got run over by Alabama in that huge game in 2015. Georgia made the decision on a Sunday after the Georgia Tech game. Here comes Kirby, and after one difficult season in 2016, he had that one difficult season in 2016, but after that, he's not looked back. Paul went on to say they've had that one close game against Missouri, but that was an aberration. A lot of stuff here to talk about. First of all, I remember heading. My second child was about to be born. I was headed to um, to get ready for all of that. I had to pull over on the side of the road when I think Mark Schlabach broke the news that Mark Richt had been fired at 11 o'clock on that Sunday morning. And there's a long story about that for some other time about Mark did not think he was going to be let go. And I have to tell you, I'm not sure. I didn't think he was necessarily going to be let go either. I knew it was possible. I knew it was certainly possible, but it didn't feel like it was necessarily coming. But looking back on it, I do think it was in my mind it was the combination of the Alabama game, the loss to Tennessee, where they had built a lead, I mean, a significant lead, and lost that game inexplicably at Tennessee. I think the program was a mess at that moment. They started they started two quarterbacks, played three of them in one season. The quarterback development was a disaster. Brian Schottenheimer was a disaster. Jeremy Pruitt was a disaster. And all of it was bad. And I think really looking back on it, the totality of it all, the hiring of those two coordinators and the manifestation of those two 20 games into it, that was reason enough to let Mark go. I was not a big fan of it at the time, but it was certainly the right call. And I do think that they hired the right person. There were not, no one that I know of, no one legitimately thought someone other than Kirby Smart would be the head coach. At the time, I worked for Scout.com. That was where my contract was. Thankfully, I don't deal with the networks anymore, but there was always a way in which you did things, you handled them. There was a coaching hot board and all this stuff. And I remember talking to somebody from Scout, and I was like, there's no reason to do a hot board. It's going to be Kirby Smart. That's it. And I think it was maybe 5 days later, it's Chip or somebody. I think it was Tuesday night. Chip at the Atlanta paper reported it, and then it was official on Sunday, the next Sunday. I can't remember. That was a crazy time, but in that time, we thought it would be successful with Kirby Smart, and it took about 9 months, maybe not even that long, for me to think it could really go well. And there were a few reasons why. Let me just mention this real quick. We are certainly getting very close to the event that we've got with Kelee Ringo. Uh, the details are down below. Don't miss out on this event. You'll get this book included with the cost. We're running out of tickets. I don't know if we'll have any left. Um, by the time you're even watching this. So, of the few that remain, go ahead and pick it up. It's Sunday at Red Zone in Athens. Kelee will be signing autographs and taking pictures with people who have a ticket. If you don't have one, no. And we're also not going to talk to Kelee for 50 minutes each. We have to keep it moving for the public. So, everybody that's already signed up, I'm very excited y'all will be with us. If you've not taken advantage of this yet, our friends at Red Zone are really providing an awesome opportunity for an extremely small amount of people to see Kelee Ringo and get a couple things signed along with the book, Dog Instruction, which you should be getting for your friends. We had a real big uptick yesterday with Jeff Foxworthy, which was a lot of fun in Atlanta, and then just a tick, generally speaking, north with the book sales. So make sure you're picking it up now for Christmas, holidays, New Year's, etc. So back to the Mark Richt thing when transitioning to Kirby. So that was a 2-year period where Georgia won 18 games, 10 under Mark, and then 8 under Kirby. Um, and it did certainly take Kirby, and I don't know if I can really say he's still learning to be a head coach. It took him certainly a season to figure out everything that he wanted to do. He had an idea how he wanted to do it. I know from people who were high-ranking folks at Georgia at the time, etc., that sometimes I read text messages when they come in and they're very curious. I have to stop talking to y'all just because I never know what's happening sometimes. But um, at that moment, um, Georgia did not have the players they needed, period. But they were moving forward in 2016 with a style that they believed in. They couldn't pull that off. They didn't have the players. A year later, they had more of the players. They had the offensive line style they wanted. The defense was steadier, bigger, faster, I guess, but certainly bigger. And over 6 years later or whatever it's been, now you're seeing exactly what what Kirby's wanting to do under Georgia. And what Paul's talking about is the Georgia got the right fit for them. And you get that at certain places. Dabo Swinney is the perfect coach at Clemson. I don't know if he could pull his routine off elsewhere. Maybe at Auburn. Nick is perfect at Alabama. He would be perfect at a lot of places, but he's perfect at Alabama. I think Kirby's perfect at Georgia. Um, I think Lincoln Riley is a really good fit at USC, and I think you're going to see over time that Brian Kelly is a really good fit at LSU. Obviously, the Jimbo thing is not working at Texas A&M. You got to put up if you're a coach. I mean, you can't sort of do it. You have to really perform. So there's that. But um, I don't know that James Franklin is the right fit at Penn State. He talks a lot. He says a lot. I don't know what he's saying half the time in terms of, the results aren't there. When you look at is Drinkwitz the right guy at Missouri? Is Beamer the right guy at South Carolina? I actually think this week's opponent for Georgia, I think they've got the right fit in Mark Stoops. It's just been very up and down this year in a way that I don't think many people expected. But Mark's career at Kentucky has been up and down. And honestly, Mark Richt was the right fit for Georgia for a very long time, frankly. So it's about establishing who is the right person for this job. And at Auburn, we're going to see as we move forward here that is really a critical thing to any school. You have to find the right fit for you. I don't know. Shane Beamer would not be a fit at Georgia. But I think at South Carolina, now he's pushing it right now. He could be the right fit at South Carolina, but you got to win, right? Would Dabo be the right fit at Texas? No, no. Dabo is an underdog coach. Okay, he's got a grievance for everything. You can't do that at Georgia or Florida or is Billy Napier the right fit at Florida? I don't know. I don't know. Dan Mullen was about the right fit you could get at Mississippi State. So, and obviously Steve Spurrier was the right fit at Florida. But most of the time, the coaches are not the fit. They're not the right place. That's why, there's only so many Pat Summits and Gino Auriemas and, these folks that win on a massive, massive level. There's only a few of them out there. And at Georgia right now, we have hit the cross section of, is this guy going to be really special, and how long is he going to be special for? And as a person that watches him as up close as anybody that's not inside the program, uh, I think he certainly is the right fit. He can and seems to be special. My worry with Kirby Smart is, mental and physical burnout. That's it. I mean, I do, he's got young children. They're not as young as they once were. And I think that's my worry for him, not a concern in terms of the program. My worry for him is, will there come a day that this guy, I don't know Kirby Smart, okay? He's not my friend. I do not know him on a personal level or anything like that. But he's got his family around him a lot, a lot. And I do wonder if one day he'll say, I want to see my two sons do their activities more than I do right now. Or or is that, or does he feel like he does that enough? That's none of our business. I just wonder if that will be something that changes over time. Um, but he's the right fit. And honestly, we all make sacrifices and we have to find the right balance for our situation. The bulk of people watching this either have children or will have them one day. And you have to make a decision if those things are the right thing for you. When Georgia hired Kirby, they went for it. Now, it took a little bit of time. There had to be a recalibration of what was reality in Georgia. They weren't really trying to win under Mark. And for a second or two under Kirby, it took institutional buy in. And having been on a board of a place that did not do institutional buy in for some time, I can tell you that's a dangerous place to be as a coach. You don't want that. You want to go win. And that's what Georgia's doing under Kirby Smart.